everyone, so welcome back. Today I want to talk about how to do shading using charcoal and how to make it more smoother and the transition would be more natural without any harsh lines. So I started off by showing you how I sketch my piece. So as you can see, this is a freehand sketch. I would definitely say that you could try to use grid because it's more accurate when it comes to your proportions and your angles. However, I'm a really lazy person, so I don't really use grid. But freehanding is also nice if you really wanted to push yourself into doing an art without any reference photo and just simply doing something out of ordinary. This one is inspired by the comic movie Sin City, if anyone is familiar with Sin City. So I started off by blocking the darkest part with charcoal. I'm actually using Diamant soft charcoal. And as you could see, what I'm doing is I'm cross-hatching. And I'm using a watercolor 300 GSM cold press, so you could expect that it's going to be very rough. So as you could see, the first layer was gritty, but when I use my blending stamp, it actually sealed the entire page. And I'm using the paintbrush to spread the rest of the remaining charcoal to the piece of the paper. And I love using paintbrush because it can even out the entire paper in a very smooth swift. Now I'm using 2H graphite for the lighter portions of the face, especially the highlights. And I'm trying to what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to work on one section at a time, and I always say that because I hate smudging my hands with charcoal, so it's always one section at a time, and then I work all the way to the right side once the left side is finished. So making a smooth charcoal and graphite is all about how you blend them and the tools that you use to blend them. As you could see, I'm really using a tissue paper, not really a Q-tip, not even my blending stump, to be honest, on the skin area, on the smoother area, the lighter area, because blending stump, Q-tip, or cotton buds will leave a harsh mark. So instead, I'm using the tissue paper. What I do is I wrapped it around my finger and I smudge it on the surface using a circular motion. But on the darker area, that's when I use the stump, because if I use a paintbrush, it will not seep through the hole since this is a cold pressed watercolor paper, and to think that it's 300 JSM, so it's pretty rough. So I don't normally use the paintbrush. However, what I use is the blending stump to make sure that every piece of charcoal will seep through the holes. And I only used the blending stump to create that shadow that was casted off from the hat on her cheeks. But as you can see with the graphite and with the other lighter places, I would use my paintbrush, but most of the time I'll be using the tissue paper. Now when you feel that the tissue paper is already tearing up, that's the time that you need to replace it with a new tissue paper. Make sure that your tissue paper is not too dark with graphite or with other charcoals. It has to be the clean part of the tissue paper to make sure that you will not spread out unnecessary darker spots, so everything would be smooth and well blended. So this piece took me about, I think, 4 hours to make, to be honest. And it was really a fun piece to make because gradually I could see the difference of the charcoal and the graphite coming in together and how smooth it comes out. Technically, considering that it was a cold pressed watercolor paper. So those are my tips. You could use a